It is, in fact, Junior Pro Kart. I think we've had a slight change in the schedule because they are making their way out. Obviously, Max Shields on the right-hand side there. He'll be out in both Junior Pro Kart and Junior Rotax, as he has all season. So we just have to make sure those two classes are next to each other on a fairly common occurrence, because it's not fair to basically throw him out of one kart and into another. The top two in the championship then lead us round for the front row. Christian Oblag and Max Shields, only 18 points between the two of them, with Harry Brown and Amy Frame on row 2, Thomas Wilkins and Harrison Johns on the third row. And after an intense battle at Lid throughout the day between Christian Oblag and Max Shields, this one, as it has been so far all season in Junior Pro Kart, will be an enthralling battle as Oblang takes the challenge to our championship leader and reigning champion after 2021, Max Shields, in second place. There he is with the gold helmet. He's going to be rolling into position, and you'll see them come round now. So it's Oblang in the green on the front row, Shields on the outside. They're going to get themselves into position. If you're wondering why they're gridding up on the second row rather than the front one, that's because the timing line here at GYG is somewhere between the front row and the second row. So we'll start them on the second row. That way, when they come over the start line right at the start here, as the green is almost with us, they look up onto the overhead gantry there. You can see the two sets of glides. It's a good start from Shields from the outside, and he's going to come all the way around Oblang, as is Amy Frame, I think, from fourth place on the grid. And she's going to slot into second. Shields comes across to defend. Oblang will come to the inside and try and slot into that slipstream, and Frame may well get hung out here on the outside as they head then through the right-hand flick and then hard on the brakes into Spoon, but it's Frame who all holds on to second place. Wilkins coming through from the back row into fourth place. So it's Shields from Frame. Then it's Christian Oblang in third place. Looks like Thomas Wilkins then up into fourth in front of Harry Brown and Harrison Johns as they come through. It looks like we have had a bit a spin down there. Looks like Harrison Johns potentially, he's dropped off the back, and I thought I saw a kart stationary down there at Carousel. The double apex left at the bottom of the hill. So the 5 runners that are still with this lead pack sees Max Shield taking advantage and moving away. He's going to set the fastest lap because he was furthest forward, and he is disappearing out at the front as Amy Frame then comes across as the track goes up the hill. There's a little flick right, then there's another little flick right before this corner, which is a flat out right at the end of the straight before they go over that apex, the brow there at the top of the hill, and Frame has gone wide, and that's going to allow Oblang to come through, and it may well allow Thomas Wilkins to take advantage down the hill into this left-hander. The thing is, they're coming so slow then round Spoon that you can't get a great run down that hill towards Carousel, so you really have to try and maximise the exit the best you can to get everybody alongside and then down the inside. If one comes through, then you'd likely to see 2 or 3 get down the inside there, but then as you come back up that hill, it's a right-hander again, so all is not lost if the driver gets alongside. So use that rumble strip on the outside here at Glenya Gores. You can see onto the right there as the track comes round, there's a small infield section. That was the original track here at GYG. The circuit's intention was not that we come racing here every weekend and it not become one of the finest circuits in the UK. It was a private track for a long time for the owner's children, and that was developed then as everybody from the local area was sort of popping their head through the fence and asking if they could have a go. So the track was extended all the way up the hill, and the facilities continuing to improve here at Glenya Gores. We've got a couple of more interesting facts to come to you later on in the day about this circuit in North Wales. Picturesque. I think if you can pick the right day of the year, and it probably will be only one day of the year, you can see Snowdon in the far distance, but generally the clouds will, you have to peek through them to try and find it. Pretty much just about see the shadow. We'll see if we can get a view of that later on. As the views in the background, actually, while slightly overcast, it's not as foggy as it was yesterday morning when we were having a look out across the track from the top end during the track walk that I carried out and had a nice walk round, my first time here at Glenya Gores. Christian Oblang through then into second place, hasn't been able to break away from Amy Frame, who's stuck with him in the early phases of this race. Max Shields already 3.2 seconds away down the road, and you'll remember at Lid when we for the first heat we were speaking to a gentleman that day called Jordan Guy, who was helping Max Shields out on the mechanic in front because obviously he's running both karts, so he was focusing on the pro kart. Now he was out racing last weekend and unfortunately had a very, very bad incident that's meant that he spent most of the week in hospital. He is out though, fortunately, albeit with not in the greatest of shape, but he has been released from hospital last night. We wish Jordan all the very best from everybody at Alpha Live and in the CKC JKC paddock. We look forward to welcoming him back to a paddock later on in the season. I'm sure he'll be with us at Landau and other tracks later in the year, so we'll try and catch a word with Jordan later on in the season. But as I say, he had a very, very unfortunate accident last weekend, so we wish him all the very best. Max Shields there pumps in the fastest lap of the race out at the front, extending that lead to 4.4 seconds at around about half race distance, so continuing to push with Christian Oblang and Amy Frame battling out as we see Harry Brown trying to go down the inside of Thomas Wilkins at the top of the hill, and does for fourth place. Can he get it stopped though? There he is in the 47. Great move then from Harry Brown, getting in the slipstream of Thomas Wilkins on that run up the hill. Now he's got to defend as Wilkins tries to get back down the inside into the second left of Carousel, and then they head back up the hill and then now into this double apex right. It's effectively, it is like a double apex because they've extended the tarmac on the outside to make it one really, really big loop all the way around. So they drop down the hill then. So they head down as Brown takes a huge chunk of curb. That curb on the inside, not something that you want to introduce yourself to on a regular basis because it's very high, which means it's very uncomfortable on you as you bounce back down and your bum tries to make its way through your seat. It also means that there's a fairly high chance that your kart is going to lose grip, and there's not a huge amount of runoff before you make friends with the wall on the outside of that final corner. So expect though later on in the day, if we do have any rain, most of the drivers will be trying to flatten that curve out quite a lot in order to try and change the line, because they'll be turning in a lot later as they head off the off track towards the very, very different line in the wet. You see they're going to turn in a lot later to this corner and then try and straight line the start finish rate as much as they can. So Harry Brown, having moved through into fourth place, has started to put a few tenths between himself and Thomas Wilkins, although Wilkins sets his personal best. That's what happens when they go blue down the top left hand corner. If it goes purple, that is the fastest outright lap of the race for anybody on our track. Oblang in second place with 2 minutes remaining. You can see there in the background, depending on which way you're looking here at GYG, it can be blue skies on one side and very, very grey on the other. The forecast is that we may have some precipitation later on in the day, so that's going to add an extra dynamic, an extra thought process for our drivers as to what tactics they go for, as Oblang sets a personal best, as does Frame, but Frame 2 tenths quicker is going to try and get into the slipstream in this run up the hill. In the background there's Brown and Wilkins. Brown continuing to open up a gap as Frame gets the nose down the inside of Christian Oblang. Oblang then chops back across, and then Frame will lose another kart length as they come down. So that corner at the top spoon, you basically go from going up the hill in one direction, looping yourself all the way back round and then back down the hill. But it cuts back at the top of the hill before you go down, so you can get down the inside in the first bit, but then you're going to put you on the outside as well. So very, very technical circuit here in North Wales as Max Shields puts in another fastest lap of the race as we head towards the timer elapsing here, and I think he's going to get round, before the time elapses, as Oblang came over at around about 45 seconds. Shields is some 6 seconds in front of this battle for second place, and that means that he's got through with around about, he's going to cross the line, I think, with around about 5 or 6 seconds. So I'm just having a quick look in the live chat comments. Yanis Race has been on. How many cc are these carts? Well, each of the engines that are on here are 200 cc. A few moments ago you saw Honda Cadet. They run a single engine of the sealed RPM 200 engine. Junior Pro Kart, they run an extra engine on a bigger frame. So we get we go down the shop, we buy an extra engine, we bolt it on the other side, and so each of these engines is 200 cc. As Frame there goes wide into the final corner, and I feel there that the chances of second place have gone for Amy Frame as she loses around about half a second to Christian Oblang. Oblang's going to probably have a look over his shoulder soon and realise that he's got a little bit more comfort than what he had 2 laps ago when Amy Frame dived down the inside at the top of the hill into Spoon. The time has elapsed, so when Max Shields, our race leader, comes over the line in a few moments' time, think Ollie 41's just been on saying 160. I think that could be regards to the engine CC. They're actually 200, so that we race here in the Cadet and Junior Kart Championship on the Hondas. It's a sealed unit, so we might be able later on, if we can zoom in on one of these Honda engines, you'll be able to see the one-piece seal that goes all the way around the engine. This frame has actually closed right back up on Christian Oblang as the last lap board is out. So Amy Frame with a personal best as well now, the bit between her teeth, having made that mistake 2 laps ago, trying to make amends as they head up the hill, and Oblang will go tighter into Spoon than he has done on the previous few laps to stop Amy Frame getting down the inside. It's going to have to be a move, I feel, in the downhill section, because round this double apex left, they're carrying so much speed that they're going to be pretty much single file. As now, can Frame find a way through in the downhill section? Checkered flag is out though, and it's going to be a win by almost 10 seconds for the championship leader, Maximus Shields. Oblang, I feel, here will hold on. I can't think that Frame's going to get alongside into the final complex of corners, and Christian Oblang from second place on the grid recovers to come back to second place, having dropped down into third. Frame will get third place then, with Harry Brown, a personal best for him in the Junior Kart Championship, finishing in fourth place in front of Thomas Wilkins and Harrison Johns there, who had the spin on the opening lap, coming through to take the checkered flag. I think we're going to see a better showing out of him in heats number 2 and 3 later on.